And this is my 16th year teaching at El Toro High School. Before the pandemic, I taught English 3 online for about 5 years, and this is the first time that we're bringing it back after the pandemic because it seems like students are ready for it this time. So, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the course, the policies and procedures, and give you some samples of what the week might look like or the assignments might look like. I'd also like to invite you to join me in room 203 at 6:15 p.m. on back to school night if you'd like to stop by and just say hello or ask questions or get to know the course even better. So, this class is really similar to the English 3 face to face classes in terms of curriculum, but it really is for students who are motivated to either improve or showcase their time management skills, as well as their independence. It's a great time for the students to really process material, take their own time to understand it, and come up with some good output. The curriculum is really similar to the face to face classes. We started Unit 1 with narrative writing with a focus on literary devices and sensory details. The students read short stories like excerpts from The Glass Castle and Eraser Tattoo, as well as an excerpt from The Scarlet Letter. And they wrote their own narrative about a memorable moment in their own lives. Right now, we're currently working on a theme unit focused on Of Mice and Men. The students will be working on expository writing, and they'll also be working on their understanding of thematic statements and how an author builds that throughout the course of the text. Next, we'll be moving into argument writing, and we'll be working with nonfiction speeches, articles, and things like that, doing some real world, in depth discoveries, and taking a position, making claims, and things like that. Next semester, we will work on a research project in which the students will be asked to read scholarly articles, watch TED Talks, and they'll come up with their own research question and come up with a research project where they answer that question with scholarly sources. Then we'll be moving into a point of view unit where the students might read Catcher in the Rye or The Great Gatsby, Fences, or Our Town, depending on what they prefer. And we'll end the year with a unit on characterization, and most likely they'll be reading The Things That They Carried by Tim O'Brien. The course is conducted through Canvas, and the students find that in Saddleport. There, they will find a overview of all the assignments for the week, all of the resources, and all of the assignments. Just like this video here, I do post instructional videos, and I would love your help in encouraging the students to use those instructional videos. Um, I'll give you a sample of a weekly overview here. This is what the students would see each week. I have an overview of all of their assignments for the week, as well as a video where I'll talk briefly about each assignment, how much time it could possibly take, and the expectations. Then, when they actually go into an assignment, they'll see an instructional video or resources related to that particular assignment. So, as the students are reading chapters 2 and 3 of Mice and Men, I'm asking them to highlight and annotate for theme development as well as character development. I've included a list of possible themes, things to look out for with characters, and then I've also included an instructional video where I highlight and annotate the first two pages of that chapter so that they can see exactly how I did it and have a model of what to do as they move through it on their own. For each assignment, the students are also provided a rubric where they get an idea of what it means to exceed the criteria, what it means to be proficient in that assignment, what it means to attempt to meet that criteria, and what might need some additional work. So if students do not complete an assignment but submit it or they don't follow directions, then I would give that student a 1 on the rubric and some feedback about how they can resubmit that assignment for full credit, following the directions or completing it as asked. The gradebook categories are as follows. We have weekly discussions, and those are worth 10% of the students' grades. That's where I pose a prompt, and the students talk to each other in response to the prompt. That's their participation, their attendance in the course each week. Then we have some formative assignments where I'll give the students the resources, the instructional videos, the samples, and they're practicing whatever skill we're working on, which then leads to our projects and summative assessments, which are worth 70% of their grade. So the formative assignments, those are really practice related directly to those projects and summative assessments, which carry the most weight in the gradebook. As far as the policies go, I do try to include cross curricular assignments as often as possible. Like our research project will have scholarly research in areas outside of English. So students can come up with a question related to science or psychology or math or whatever they're interested in. I also try to use current events and issues around the world for our discussion prompts each week, and then include art interpretations related to symbolism or things like that to try to reach a broader audience than those just interested in reading and writing. In addition to that, students will be asked to use the materials provided. Those instructional videos, the templates, the written instructions, all of that lives on Canvas so they can access it anytime they need it. And they can also join me for a tutorial any day in room 203 or send me an email to schedule an appointment outside of that tutorial time. I always accept late work. The students can receive 80% credit for anything submitted within 2 days and 50% credit for anything submitted thereafter. That's for formative assignments and discussions. And for the assessments, I grade them based on their performance. So when they submit that assessment, it's scored on the rubric and not penalized for late credit. I often do offer revisions for written assessments once a student has completed additional work or visited me at tutorial. That way, they get some new knowledge or new understanding, and then I offer the opportunity to revise and resubmit. The last thing I would love parents and guardians to be aware of is that students have 1 week to complete assignments. If a student is absent, I don't know that because it's an online class. So the student can definitely email me or use Canvas to message me if they need an extension on the deadline. But I do ask that they do that before the deadline hits. Students have from Monday morning until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. to complete their assignments each week. So if something comes up during the week, I definitely need to be aware of that so that I don't give them a late penalty or have expectations that cannot be met. The last thing is that communication is key. Building upon what I just said, the best way for a student to let me know what's going on or to get help is definitely to email me. And if we can't get that help or do what's needed over email, they are welcome to visit me in 203 whenever possible. I always like to tell the students that I don't know what I don't know, so please let me know. If they can explain or just give me an idea of what's going on or why they need help or what exactly they're looking for, then I can figure out the best road forward. Last but not least, SVUSD College and Career Fair is on October 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Mission Viejo High School. So you can scan that QR code to sign up. And once again, I'd like to invite you to stop by room 203 at 6:15 on back to school night if possible, or feel free to send me an email anytime to introduce yourself, ask questions, or get the help that your student needs. Thank you so much and have a great day.